It's no secret that RWBY is a polarizing show. Ask anybody their opinion on it, and there will be somebody ready to go to war with the exact opposite opinion. The fandom this series has fostered over the course of its extensive tenure is remarkably impressive and pretty scary. For that reason, I wasn't sure about making this video. In the event I actually do amass a following, a video like this is certain to attract the toxic side of the fandom. However, I decided to do it because I feel like I have something to say, and I will accept the consequences of saying it. I've never been one to back down from something I feel strongly about, and I certainly don't intend to start now. So these are my thoughts on General Ironwood, and why I feel he doesn't get enough credit both in the narrative itself and within the fandom.
I would die without regret. I offer up my life with zero reservations. I would fly into the sun if that would keep our dream alive. Deliver you from harm, shelter in my arms. The fear will surely fade. No, right now the plan I made will guide us up. We'll survive this storm. I will fight for you no matter how I am despised. Betrayed as cruel and heartless, I am mine. I have power, I'm due process, I will fly. Our enemies destroyed, metal I'll deploy. No chance that I won't take. My oath to you I won't forsake. Hope's not gone, just hold on.
General Ironwood was an interesting character from day one. His interactions with Ozpin and Glinda in Volume 2 give us a clear picture of the sort of man he is. Someone who prefers the use of force to get things done, often choosing to barrel through a problem as opposed to Ozpin's preference to use finesse. As well, we see that despite the difference between him and Glinda, she still respects him and acknowledges that he does what he does for the good of the people. However, despite this, and the fact that Ozpin is the one who brought him into this secret war, he still makes moves to undermine Beacon's headmaster to cede control of a situation for himself. Ironwood is a character who believes firmly in little more than his own two hands. While he has shown that he can put his confidence in others to get things done, he would rather formulate a plan of action and see it followed to a T. He still listens to Ozpin's advice and strategies, but ultimately has to be convinced it's a good idea or that he did something wrong. If he can't see the logic in something and fundamentally disagrees with it, he will go rogue and take the necessary steps to ensure that his plan is the one that's put into action. This doesn't inherently make him villainous, though. At the end of the day, through all of the disagreements and backdoor politicking, his heart is firmly set on the protection of the people. At his core, that is who he is, and that never changes even in Volume 8 when he goes so far off the rails as to threaten to bomb Mantle if Penny doesn't return to open the vault and allow him to retrieve the relic.
You're a good person, James. You've always done what you think is best for the people, even against strong protest. It's admirable.
That is who Ironwood is, and the hints to this fact are constantly shown to us throughout the show. Though he is prone to acting rashly, it's always for the same reason that Ozpin wanted him in the war to begin with, to protect and serve. Ironwood is the embodiment of this mentality, doing anything and everything he can to keep the world of Remnant and its people safe from harm. Yet, despite all of this, there seems to be this insane consensus that he was always a selfish, powerful power-hungry fascist dictator who just wanted to control everything and everyone. That is what I have a problem with, and those are the criticisms of his character I hope to dispel by the end of the video. I think that one of the biggest reasons Ironwood is so firmly hated nowadays by the fandom is the fact that his plans did fail. His attempt to increase security at the Vital Festival during Volume 3 led to Torchwick taking over his machines and turning them against the students and the Kingdom of Vale. Though at this point in the story, his actions within that volume saved him from most of the fans' ire. He destroyed his creations without hesitation once they were compromised, and worked with the rest of the Huntsmen to secure the safety of as many as he could. Because of this, he ended up saving a lot of face. After this point, he returns to Atlas and orders an embargo that cuts Atlas off from the rest of the world, cutting off trade routes and not letting anyone in or out of the kingdom. The way the rest of the characters start to talk about him makes it sound like maybe we shouldn't trust him, but when we did get to see him, we still got the same man from volumes 2 and 3 who stood by our heroes.
Arrest her! What are you waiting for? She's insane! She should be locked up!
She's the only one making sense around here.
It's a wonder Ironwood wasn't stripped of his rank. I suppose the council trusts him, for better or worse.
I trust him.
Brand new, state-of-the-art Atlas tech. You know, I thought I was gonna have to pull some strings, call in a few favors, but you earned this one all on your own, kiddo.
Huh?
Before I could even talk to him, General Ironwood already had one of his top scientists working on this. For you. He wanted me to tell you that you fought admirably. You should be proud of yourself.
The embargo nearly turned everyone against him. Even Team RWBY were hesitant to trust Ironwood, despite all that he had already done for them. This culminated with their decision to lie to him about the truths they had uncovered one volume prior, despite losing their shit and literally bullying Oz for his hundreds of years of trauma they forcibly extracted by using the lamp. But Oz is a topic for another video. They do this, and as if providing instant karma, Ironwood gives them back the Relic of Knowledge, saying he doesn't want them to think he's hiding anything from them. Ironwood laid all of his cards on the table, despite knowing he had a faulty plan, destroy Salem for good. They decided it was best to keep everything from him until it was too late for him to do anything about it. Even then, he still took it like an absolute champ until Cinder and Salem started playing mind games. While I and most people at the time seemed to agree that Ironwood's turn was much too quick and sudden, especially considering he got a big heroic moment in the same episode, he made a lot of good points. Calling Team RWBY out on their bullshit and locking the lamp inside the vault, no matter anything else, was the correct decision. After all, the lamp ended up being used by the villains in the most disappointing way possible from a narrative perspective, and exactly the way Ironwood feared it would be. So, he was absolutely right in that decision, and he absolutely had a point with his plan to raise Atlas into the sky. A decent portion of Mantle had already been, and was still, at that time, being evacuated while this conversation was happening. It wouldn't have protected them forever, but it would have given them at least a little time to come up with another plan. Unfortunately, whatever goodwill Team RWBY had with Ironwood was used up trying to argue with him while danger was at their front door. This is the sentiment most people seemed to have at the time, but when Volume 8 came out, everyone's opinion changed. They went from understanding his perspective to demonizing him as hard as the main heroes themselves had done. To my understanding, Ironwood's sudden shift to straight-up villainy was the result of a response to fans agreeing with Ironwood's perspective at the time. The writers were horrified that they might disagree with the main heroes, and so they overcompensated by assassinating Ironwood's character until he was almost entirely unrecognizable. If that's not the case, it certainly feels like it, and it seems like plenty of people agree, the more reasonable ones at least. As far as the whole Ironwood's new arm is a symbol for him losing his humanity statement the writers confirmed was the case for their symbolism when writing his character, I don't need to explain how harmful that is, or how his semblance, yeah, he has a semblance, is essentially neurodivergence, and because of these things, he is a villain. I've had several arguments with RWBY fans over the direction Ironwood's character took, and they seem to all have the same sentiment of, well, all of this was foreshadowed throughout his appearances in the series. You just weren't seeing it. No, I did see it. I'm just a rational, thinking human being who can put two and two together between this and this. These are not the same character. You're right that the setup was all there, but they completely botched it and still managed to turn him way too damn fast. In the same episode, we get this big, heroic triumph. We get James coldly stating that he has no problem leaving the rest of Mantle to die. Yes, I just defended these actions, but it's still a sharp pivot for his character that almost assassinates his credibility all at once. And it's not his fault. He became a victim of terrible writing, but his actions at this point, to some degree, still make sense. Team RWBY lied to him, so he doesn't trust them and questions their credibility. Salem is at his doorstep, so he wants to secure the safety of everyone they already have. There's no time to waste arguing with the council about the right course of action and waiting to vote on the issue, so he declares martial law. None of these things in of themselves are bad decisions. The only reason they're perceived as such is because that is how they're written to be. Perception is reality, and as soon as Team RWBY turned on Ironwood, we had to as well. So he shot Oscar, killed a councilman, and threatened to demolish Mantle, a threat he seemed fully intent to follow through on. He almost killed Marrow, which honestly would have been fine. He had no purpose at all besides reminding us Faunus are still discriminated. He had to become a madman people were afraid of, because if he didn't, people would be agreeing with him and not RWBY. RWBY, who, along with Blake and Weiss, was content to just sit around the Schnee Manor sipping tea while everybody was dying around them, because Ironwood was right. Ironwood did nothing wrong. He did everything he could to keep everyone safe, and was vilified and hated for it. If he made a mistake, it was not taking into account how stupid the rest of Remnant is, and how they really didn't deserve him. Rest in peace, James Ironwood. You deserved so much better. I can't help but wonder who thought it was a good idea to put an anti-military message in a universe where they're under constant threat of monsters and a giant demon queen. Who was this for? I just don't understand it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe for future content. The faster this channel grows, the more likely I will be to continue making stuff for all of you. Have a wonderful day.
Winter, do not blame me. I have only done what's best for Remnant, and no one is grateful.
And that's checkmate.